Welcome back. Let's go to another caller. Radio Hamra, you're on the air.
Hello, doctor.
Hi, thanks for calling.
It's a pleasure to talk with you.
My pleasure. Go ahead.
I'm a 29-year-old girl, and I wanted to discuss with you about my problem with making close friendship with others, and this. But I'm scared of it. It has been an issue for me recently, actually.
Okay. So, a hard time making close friendships. You're 29 years old. You said this, you said fear, and that's, we talk about anxiety or fear. And with friendships and things, people can feel like, well, why would we be afraid of something like that about being close? But it's a very common thing that people have. We have anxiety. We care a lot about what people think, what they feel about us. And so we have this desire, all of us, to be close to one another. It's a human need, but we can also have a fear of getting hurt as well. So we're trying to balance those things. By the way, I'm not sure if you have the radio on. I hear a little feedback or echo in the background.
No, actually,
no? Okay.
I don't have the radio.
Maybe it's, or if you're on speakerphone.
No.
No? Okay.
I'm talking. No.
Okay.
Sorry for this.
That's okay. It's just a technical thing. Wanted to see if there's anything we can do. Okay. So tell me a bit about what is going on for you as far as this issue. Has it changed in any way recently, or has it always been the same? Tell me a bit more about it.
Yeah, sure. Before my marriage, I was also not good with having deep friendships. I used to have a lot of friends, but I was not so open to people to show my feelings. And before my marriage, I can say that I had one or two very close friends. But it became worse when I met my husband, and then I was more cautious about being open to other people. I have a very good relationship with my husband. I can say that he is my best friend, but I have become very, very cautious about other people. I can talk with them easily, but I think that unconsciously I behave in a way that I don't see them often. So I see many people during the week, but somehow I don't make that relationship deeper. So I just keep it in a way that it's without any feeling behind it, something like that. I can say. Sure.
Now, but you're saying with your husband, you feel like you are very close, and you've let yourself get emotionally very close.
Yes. Actually, after my marriage, I switched from my friend, when I was single, to my husband, actually. And I'm also his best friend. I say everything to him, and he talks with me, and we have a very close relation.
Okay, so in a lot of ways, that sounds good that you're so close, you're each other's best friends, and you can share everything with one another. The immediate concern that jumps out to me, and when you say it that way, though, is that sometimes what we do in our romantic relationships is we expect too much from our partner and too much from the relationship. So they become, kind of the way we hear in romantic songs or poetry, they become your everything. But that's not necessarily good, because they can put too much of an expectation on the relationship. And so, although we want to be very close and be best friends with our partner, we still need to have other people in our life, or else it tends to actually have a negative effect on the relationship over time and on how we're doing, because we're limited in the experiences that we have. How long have you been married?
Totally, I know my husband for 5 years, almost 5 years, but we have been together for 4 years.
Okay.
Since I got married, yeah.
Been married for 4 years, known each other. Yes, okay.
Yes, sorry for interrupting you. I just also wanted to say one thing. Actually, I'm not totally dependent on my husband, because I have my own activities that I spend with others. I'm not some person that who stays at home and spend all of my free time with common friends, only my husband. But the point is that that activities are too much, I can say. That it is not like with specific group or with specific people. It is divided between like many people.
Okay. So now, you're calling me, which means either you feel not good or you're wondering or worrying, what if this is not good? So is it something that you want to have closer friends, or is it that you're worried, what if I'm doing something wrong, and you just want to make sure it's okay?
Actually, I'm not feeling good. I
Okay.
can say that I'm doing this to like make friendship, but at the same time, I'm behaving in a way that I'm not making deep relations with others.
So yeah, it seems like you recognize, you see people, you do things, but you are putting the brakes on getting close. Like, you don't let it get too close, and it seems like you're either not sure why, or you don't know how to change it, or maybe both. So what comes to your mind as to why you might be preventing the relationships from getting closer?
I think it's because I may like about, I don't know, maybe it's a mistake, but about the expectations that they have from me, like saying like being too close and saying like my private life, like things, and or I don't know, judging me. Actually, I think it is because of the judgment.
Okay.
Or and as long as if I'm not sure about that person, I'm very like, I try to be too far from that person, and I think it's because of the judgment and the fear that I may get hurt in that relation.
So what it sounds like is you're trying to protect yourself, but by protecting yourself, you're preventing yourself from getting close, which you want. And that's what I meant, is that we have this desire to be close. We want to be close, whether we're talking about in a romantic or friendship, but we also could be afraid of getting hurt, and we're always balancing that. And for some people, their fear of getting hurt, or the expectation that they might get hurt, is even stronger, and so they're more afraid. So looking at your own life, when you think about, let's say, with your parents and your relationships there, what do you remember about those relationships? Did they feel good and loving and safe, or did they feel more unsafe, or was there any kind of significant trauma in those relationships?
Actually, with my parents, especially my mom, I had a lot of like problems. She was so controlling me when I was like, even I don't know, in my early 20s. And then when I was financially independent and also got married, I had this independency, so I tried to also ignore her. Actually, if I like, even when I moved from immigrated to another country, I'm not so eager to talk to my mom like every 2 weeks, I can say.
Yeah. So we can see that relationship, which is maybe the closest one you had as a child and for most of your life until your marriage, it was a relationship that was hurting you more than it was helping you or making you feel good. So you're saying now that if you didn't need her, you didn't want to be close to her, you'd prefer to have space and distance, because the feeling of being in a relationship with her takes away rather than it gives. So for some people, they say, I'm stressed out, let's say, I want to talk to a friend or spend time with my friends because that'll make me feel better. Some people, they're stressed out. They say, I can't see my friends because that gives me more stress, or I can't see people because it's going to make things worse. And so the way you're describing your relationship with her, it feels like a burden than something that you were wanting or enjoying in that relationship with your mother.
Yes, by default it is like that. Like maybe I enjoy, right now I enjoy while I'm talking with her, but before or after that, it's like I don't want to do this. Like I don't want to talk to her. But like if I'm forced, I call her.
Yeah. Well, and so we can see that until it's like necessary or there's no way around it, you try to avoid that connection. So you mentioned she was controlling, but something you said about friends was the fear of judgment. Was there usually it goes along with controlling, but was there a judgmentalness that she had as well?
Yes, about my behavior in front of others. She was very after any ceremony or any event, I was like judged by her that why did you do that, or don't do that again.
So yeah, here we can see that specifically can lead. It's almost like a double effect. One is the relationship itself doesn't feel good when you get she talks to you that way, or you feel like you're being scrutinized or judged. But on top of that, she makes you feel more anxious about being around other people and what's the right way and good way of being. So it makes you more afraid of their judgments, even if you think she's being wrong, which it seems like you think that, especially now. But when it was happening, it's going to have this effect that the people out there are judging or are looking negatively at you. So it's safer to be away from them. But that's where you are now, where you want to be close, but there might be an anxiety of when you are then out there, you are exposed to their judgments or exposed to them seeing you in a certain way that doesn't feel good. So it's safer to be away. It seems like that's how you've chosen to deal with that aspect, at least now, is avoiding the possible judgment of people or their expectations.
Yes.
Okay.
And, I really don't know, like, how can I make my situation better? Because by myself, like, I take one step, but I take 10 steps back.
Well, changing something that feels very strong within us is very hard, especially when it's been there since childhood and into our early adulthood. So you right now talking to me can get that you want to get closer to people, but then when you're in the situation, it feels unsafe and you turn around. So it's like it feels like you're getting to a cliff, so you don't want to go any further, even though you know it's not a cliff. And so part of it is we can definitely talk some more, and I think not only just our talking, but going to therapy, and if you haven't already, looking at this relationship with your mother and other things can help. But the other part of it is that no matter how much you talk about it or think about it, that's not going to fix the issue. A big part of it's going to be you have to take risks getting closer to people and allowing to see what happens. Because we can get hurt by friends and by people. That's part of the risk we take in any relationship, is we can get hurt. But we hopefully will accept that it's worth that risk and go forward anyway. So some of what you're going to have to do is put a little pressure on yourself to take steps and figuring out first what those steps are, and then taking those steps to get closer to people around you, and then seeing what happens. You probably will feel nervous. You might want to make excuses. You might do lots of the things that you usually do to avoid them, but to push yourself to overcome that. It's like you're learning a new way of walking or a new exercise. At the beginning, it's going to feel weird and feel wrong, but if you think it's worth it, hopefully you'll push through that uncomfortable feeling for something that you think has value.
Yes. I can just add one more thing.
Sure.
My biggest fear is that people may think that I'm a pushy person, that I want to force myself on them, and because I'm begging for a friendship, it makes me this is also another biggest thing that I have.
Okay, what's interesting is this is something we can look at. We're almost at a commercial break, and so we'll go, and I want to continue the conversation afterwards. But the first thing that came to my mind, and it's relevant, I don't know if you listened to the beginning of the show when I mentioned we have a shadow. Sometimes we see something in our parents, and because we dislike it so much, we want to become almost the opposite of that. So because of what you've just shared about your mother, is it possible that because she was more pushy in her relationship with you, you want to be the opposite of that? You never want to be that way? And so even you're afraid of asking for something you want, that it's going to come off as being pushy, or it's going to come off that you're asking for too much. So there does seem to be something there about your own needs, feeling like they're something you have to hide or are not comfortable sharing, at least not with everyone. So there's something that could be there. Anything about that? Can you connect to what I was saying right now, or does it not connect to what you feel like is your story?
Actually, I think yes.
Okay. So how about this? Think about that. We're going to go to a commercial break right now. So I want you to think about that, and then after the break, we'll follow up with that and keep going with the discussion, okay?
Sure. Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're with the caller before the break. Let's go back to her now. Caller, are you still there? Hello? Hello? Hi, are you still there?
Hi.
Okay.
Doctor, do you hear my voice?
Yes, I do. Yeah, we weren't getting it for a few
sorry.
seconds. No, it's okay. Even the way, that's interesting. That's happened twice now, that I think you apologized for something that wasn't your fault, about the technical issues. And so this might even be related to what we were saying about your own needs or feelings being okay or important.
I guess actually this is like something that, or I like say thank you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like even to the people, like in the country that I live, and then I say thank you a lot to them. They say, okay, like we didn't do something. It's strange to them, and even to my Iranians, that I say thanks a lot, and they say, oh, this is too much, or again apologizing a lot. And sometimes, okay, you will say less, but by default it comes. Sure.
Well, so you see, it's like you're saying by default, it's so natural for you, and so there is a sense of people pleasing there, of making sure others are okay, that they feel good about you, or that they don't seem like you're, if you're saying thank you because you're saying I didn't expect you to do anything, or I'm acknowledging what you did. That's what I meant. It could be relevant to what we were talking about. And so before the break, we mentioned how your mother being the way that she was, it's almost like you want to be the opposite of that in some ways. So if she was demanding or asking too much of you, you almost want to ask nothing of other people. Also, if you're in a relationship like that, you learn to not ask much because you don't have that space. But as I was thinking about it, I also want to make sure we look at other aspects of things too. Tell me a bit about your father and your relationship with him.
I can say that my father wasn't a controlling person at all. I think he was mostly affected by my mother reaction. So whenever she was angry, like my father also defended her, and it was like cause and effect. So whenever she was angry, he was also like angry also. But most of the time, I don't remember that he was too strict with me.
Okay. Were you close with him?
No, actually. I was close, I can say, with my mother.
Okay. And do you remember as a child wanting to be closer with him?
No, I didn't want to be close with him actually. He was also like had this anger that whenever something was like forcing him, he became angry so much. So I was also like, in order to make things like smoother, I also avoided him. I can say.
Well, and in that way, you avoided him, but you had to avoid yourself too, in the sense that if you were upset or feeling something, you likely would not be comfortable sharing it with him or around him.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can see that in your family of origin, in your home, you learned that it's, first of all, it doesn't feel so comfortable to be close to people, because you're saying even you weren't that close to your father, but there wasn't that desire, almost like the way you describe it, like you were afraid of him or afraid to get too close, or that it wouldn't feel good to be close, which is how you're describing being friends with people now. And with your mother, it was too close in a way that didn't feel good. And so we can understand that your expectation of relationships isn't a very positive one.
Yes, actually, like when I think of a close relationship, always this hurting and like getting hurt comes to my mind. And yes, like for me, it's a miracle that I become very close to someone other than my like current family.
Well, speaking of what might sound like a miracle, the way you described your relationship with your husband was that you feel very close, very comfortable. So how do you think that's been so different, the experience you have with him, based on what we're talking about, how relationships can feel for you. Tell me about how you met him and what you think makes that relationship so different.
I think I met him so happy that I started and continued in spite of my mom's objection.
Okay.
Like I met him through a hiking group, and
you're saying your mother was against hiking?
Yes. Yes, because like in Iran society, and like I was living in another city, and so she was like too worried about me to go out and meet other people. So she was mostly saying that stay at the dorm and study, something like that. So yeah.
Okay.
And like he was totally opposite of my parents. Like he didn't control me or put boundaries to activities that I was doing, and up to now he's okay with everything. Like he never tells me that okay, you shouldn't do this. He always said okay, go and try. Like with him I have tried like the activities that I really like since I was a teenager. So and even I think that I'm just also having a good youth childhood. Also, like I'm experiencing everything right now. I can say like anything that I didn't have during my childhood or when I was a teenager or in my early 20s.
I see. So we can see how important it is that he makes you feel like you have the space to be yourself, to feel what you feel, to do what you want to do. That's something you're saying is newer for you. You don't tend to expect that, but he does make you feel that way.
Yes, that's it. Exactly, that's it. Like because of that, I'm so okay with him.
Okay, and that's very good. That I'm glad he gives you that, and that's what we want in a relationship, for the person to feel, for both people to feel they can be themselves and be comfortable, and also even take risks, try new things. You don't always even know if you're going to like something, but having that space to try, and even seeing different parts of yourself. Is your feeling that he's the only one out there this way, and you're afraid to meet new people? Because it does seem like I doubt you'll say that that's the truth, that he's the only one, as romantic as you want to be, that has that personality. But there almost is this sense that you're like, well, I found a place where I can be safe. Why should I risk it in other places where maybe it won't be safe? This could maybe be enough for me. But then you get in touch with this part of you that wants more, wants to have friends and other connections, and so it becomes, you get stuck in the middle. But is the feeling there that you're worried that there aren't people like him out there that you can have a relationship that feels comfortable?
Actually, I felt like I can say maybe before that I thought no, there's no one, but recently I found someone, I found a very good friend, very out of sudden, and then I felt that okay, there's opportunity. Like she made me feel that I should be more hopeful for this. Because of that, now I have this concern more than ever. Okay,
you're saying you have that concern? You have that concern more now, or are you saying she's made it so it's less?
No, she has made it more because I met her in another country, and then I felt that friendship that I was looking for a long time, and then I came back to my home country. I thought that, well, if there's some this kind of people more, why should I stay like this in my normal life?
Oh, so she's made you more hopeful, right? So not more concerned, more hopeful. Good. Okay, I'm glad that you had that experience with her, and there's going to be others like her. We can understand that your expectation, based on what you experienced as a child with your parents, was that although we might want relationships, there's something that hurt us. And so I think that's why you found your husband and feel so comfortable with him that you've in some way latched on to him being like the everything. But I'm glad you're realizing that that's not good. You want more and you need more, and as I said, over time especially, it can have a negative impact on the relationship, because it's almost like you drain each other because you need to be everything for each other all the time. So you're going to need other friendships, and we have to be willing to risk, as I was saying, getting hurt, and also be willing to risk that what we expect might not be the reality. That although we think people are going to be like our mom and dad and what we experienced growing up, that's not going to be everyone. That was them. And it's not the whole world, just like there are people like your husband and this other person you met recently out there. So, as I mentioned, what you're going to have to do is put yourself in that uncomfortable space of getting closer with people not knowing. And I also want you to be ready that when we say people make you feel comfortable, it doesn't mean that they're never going to let you down or hurt you, in some ways. That's part of any relationship, is sometimes we get hurt. But if we have this experience growing up, we often become oversensitive to getting hurt because we're trying to protect ourselves. So the first sign that someone maybe, even makes a comment or a joke that might have some kind of judgment in it, you might go to this place of, okay, see, now this person I can't trust, or this person's just like the rest of them, and you might go away. So I would recommend that you give people a little bit more of a chance. Yes, if they hurt you in a big way, they don't need a second chance. But in general, giving people more of a chance, because I would assume you're going to be more anxious when it comes to meeting new people and might get afraid if you see something that can make you feel hurt in some way.
Okay, I want to also add one more thing.
Okay.
For this purpose, should I decrease the number, like the quantity of activities that I have, and spend more time on the activities that I think there's a chance to find people and talk to them?
Well, yeah, that's one option. I think you're looking to being open to meeting, and you could do different things where you might meet people, kind of like how you met your husband, through activity. That often is in adulthood how we meet people, or often through other friends we meet friends. But if you're saying there really isn't that many close friends, you might not have that option. So sure, why not do that? But let me ask you, you and your husband, are there friends you spend time with together, like mutual friends, or are you spending time almost only together?
No, we have common friends, and
Okay.
He's more eager to spend more time with them, but I myself also want to not spend all of our time on the same people. I want to expand it,
Sure.
not putting all the egg. I always tell him that let's not put all the eggs in one basket.
I think that's good, and also for it to be your own experiences too. Now, since you're saying your husband and you are so close, how does he see this issue in you? What's his perspective on this?
Sometimes he gets annoyed that I'm not spending more time with other people. For example, I don't want to spend more time with the common friends that we have. Or he wants, he demands more deeper relations with others. Quantity is not important to him. He wants a good quality friend, a good quality friendship.
And is it that he wants you and him to spend time with those friends, or he wants to have time with them himself?
Actually, he always said that if he also need to be with them more.
Okay.
But he's also okay that if I can't go with them, he goes by himself.
Okay.
But I think he's more happy when I go with him like this.
Sure. Well, so sometimes, having both is going to be good. But, the way you said he can get tired of it, or he wants certain things, that's my concern, is that over time it's going to take something out of your relationship if there's less, if there's really no one that you feel very close with outside of it. It's not going to be good for you. So he is your comfort and your safety, and it's good to have that. But we want to have that as a safety to then go explore. Just like a child goes to the mom when they have a secure attachment and then goes and plays, you have him. And so I hope you'll take the risk, knowing you have him, that you can get close to other people. I think, unfortunately, your relationships with your mom and your dad, and then your mom also making so many comments about people's judgments, and you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that, makes you also afraid of people's judgments. And because of how they both were, the feeling you gave me about your father of having a bit of fear that you didn't want to get close to him, also leads to a people-pleasing mentality that we touched on earlier. And so because of that, when you think of relationships in an emotional way, one of the things that comes up for you is that it's going to be something that hurts me or takes away. But I think you're recognizing there's the possibility for something else. So at every step, you're probably going to feel anxious to get closer with someone, but I hope you'll keep taking those risks. You can think about your husband, that look how good it feels that I allowed myself to get close to him. And it's not going to be to the same degree, of course, with the friendship, but it could still be very nice and close. And so I hope you'll take those risks in that direction to try to get closer to new people. Through activities can be great because you already have that mutual interest, but to keep taking those risks to get closer to people. And I say risks because it's going to feel anxious for you, but you'll be okay even if things don't work out.
Okay, regarding this kind of friendships, like, should I make more common friends, or I also have this problem that how can I have a balance between having a common friend or a friend that are my own, and how much time should I spend with them?
Sure. Yeah.
While I'm with them, my husband is staying at home, for example.
And so even in the way you're asking that, I can feel this anxiety that comes up of like, well, even if I have friends, how do I balance it? And it's going to be too much. And all these things make you more afraid to even try to make it work. And the truth is, there's no answer. I can't tell you spend 83 minutes with your friends and this many minutes with your husband. It's something that you have to figure out, and you and him have to figure out. You maybe are even afraid, what if I really want to spend time with my friends a lot, and then my husband doesn't like that, or he gets upset, and it creates a problem. So you're avoiding a potential problem that you're imagining in your future. And so the reality is going to be that you and him will figure it out. There actually could be times where you're spending a lot of times with your friends and he misses you, or he's spending time with his friends and you miss him. These things come up in marriages, and you have to figure them out and navigate them, not think, okay, if we come up with some rule, it's never going to be an issue. Partners in a relationship, they differ in things like how much closeness they want. Some people like to have their alone time, some people don't want to have alone time. And so as a partnership, you have to figure out, how do we make these things work? Not we come up with some rule and forever it's going to be good. We check in with each other, we talk, we communicate, things are going to change, and as they change, we feel our feelings and communicate our feelings with one another. But I don't want you to feel like there's some exact amount. So you should feel comfortable going and trying to make your friends, and let's see what happens. But I'm also hearing that you're not trusting yourself that you're going to do the right thing or do it in the right way. So it's another thing that makes you feel it's just safer not to do anything. But don't worry, go forward, try to make friends, and see what happens. It's something you're going to figure out, not something you can completely plan out and then go forward with that plan.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Good luck to you. Nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Sure, take care. All right, let's go to another commercial break. We'll be right back.